Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the PSGL YouTube channel for our second social race of the evening. My name is Dan, and I'll be one of your commentators for this evening's race today. I'm being joined by the one and only Chris Buxton. Chris, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you, Dan. Really looking forward to this. I love Kota. From a commentary perspective of driving it, really tricky. I am hopeless at Kota from a driver's perspective. I'm fairly hopeless anywhere I decide to drive. However, that's a different matter. Love commentating on Kota. It's a brilliant circuit and can't wait to get stuck in. And what a great field of drivers we are blessed with again for this next social race.
Absolutely, and why not run through the grid now? So in the Mercedes team we have Caden Lutt and PSR Joseph Loke. At Red Bull we have Tuomas Laminen and Antoine Desaluski. At Ferrari we have Andrei Tarabukin and the infamous F1 YouTuber Tom97, Tom Martinez. In the McLaren team we have Oscar Villacampa and Modesto Mena. Then at Alpine we have TTG Christmas and Selim Arkin. Then at AlphaTauri we have Will Lewis and Floris Vyers. Aston Martin is heated up by Manolo Villar and Christoph Zeller. Then the Williams team is Sam McBride and Symbolics. Alfa Romeo's Istvan Pukki and Arda Gunay. Then Haas is Jan Haladej and Drake Dempsey. So 20 drivers getting ready for this race at Kota. And Chris, what a grid we have today.
What a group indeed. Lots of familiar names in there. Some names I'm personally a little less familiar with, but I always enjoy that. I always see how those haven't had a chance yet to prove themselves against the establishment, how well they do. I'm really looking forward to that. There'll be a number of people in chat screaming at me like, who don't you know, how don't you know them, etc. But hey, we will see. Really looking forward to it. Can't wait.
I mean, I'm not too familiar with a lot of these drivers as well, but that just means there's all the more excitement. There are some names that instantly do jump out to me, like Floris Vyers in the AlphaTauri, and of course Tom97, Antoine Desaluski, Andrei Tarabukin. All of these guys are very fast, and Chris, I think we're going to be expecting a very fast race today.
Yep, I fully agree. It's difficult to know who to keep an eye on, who we expect to do well. Yeah, it's a tricky one because it's all going to be down to who survives the early part of it. I mean, Caden Luke, we've seen Manolo Villar. Luke Smith has been top of the tree several times. I think that if we're judging on past experiences, of course, lots of things have changed with the new game, of course. It's difficult to look away from the likes of Luke Smith, maybe Andrei Tarabukin. Sam McBride has done well as well. Yeah, tricky one. I think I'm hedging my bets on Luke Smith doing well on this one.
Luke Smith at the moment, he's in the other lobby. Of course, we've got two lobbies on today. This is lobby number 2, and we've had 7 PM's race, lobby number 1. Luke Smith is actually DNF'd. He's the only driver not finishing that race. Currently led by Ben Sabo-Konyi, George Nader, then Alfie Butcher in third. And there's an amazing battle going on at the moment on lap number 19 of 28. And of course, Chris, we're going to see a lot of these guys from this grid today joining some of the other guys in F2 and in F3 as well. So once again, just shows the talent that PSGL has to fill up 2 full grids of drivers that could be so competitive with one another.
Indeed. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, when all the gremlins are ironed out, who we can look forward to. Is there anyone you're keeping an eye on, Mr. Dan?
Who am I keeping an eye on? There's a lot of drivers that I really do not want to miss. I mean, I guess today you have to think of sort of some of the younger guys, like Sam McBride and Will Lewis, who could become breakout stars in F1 esports, and then they'll be fighting with the likes of Floris Vyers, established and in his case a former esports driver. So I'd say that the likes of Sam McBride, Will Lewis, and Andrei Tarabukin, those guys very competitive, and a lot of guys bit of a mystery to me, like Arda Gunay and Selim Arkin. Very interesting to see how those guys get on, at least from my point of view. I'm not too sure as to who they are.
Yeah, likewise. As what I was saying before, is that there are several names that we are a bit less familiar with. So, again, I always really look forward to that. You know that there's going to be some up and coming names that have made their way through the ranks that we possibly haven't commentated on before, only because they haven't hit F2 just yet. But even still, that doesn't mean that they're going to be any less talented. They just haven't had a chance to prove it yet. Now, I've just seen we might have a lobby up, Mr. Dan. So I'm just going to see if that is the case. Waiting on confirmation on who our host is and waiting for those ever important invites to come out.
Oh, I've just picked up mine. There we go.
Wonderful. So if you join, I can join off of you.
Fantastic.
Wonders of modern technology when it works.
I mean,
when it works.
When it works, indeed.
Okay, so we've got 16 in at the moment, which is good to see. Luke Smith is with us. I thought I saw the list that Luke Smith was indeed with us. He's in one of the Red Bulls alongside Tuos Laminen.
That's interesting. I didn't actually. He was in the other race, so I don't know how he's made it into this one tonight. But maybe he had a crash early on, and then he is, he's coming in later on. I'm also seeing that Jack West is in the lobby, another young up and coming stars. So there are a few changes in the grid today, but I suppose there are a few things we actually do need to note for this race, is that finally we are getting full setups. Of course, in the last few weeks it's all been preset running, but now finally these drivers are getting to use whatever setups they have created, and it really does give everyone a chance to properly shine in their element.
Yep, 100%. Who else can we look forward to seeing that we do know about? We can't comment too hard on the ones we haven't seen yet. So, yeah, like I said, Arda Gunai, we've seen before Jan Halliday as well, but I can't think. I'm not 100% sure why. Obviously, Halliday wearing the Shazoo tag, so that gives me some confidence. TTG Christmas, I'm not sure who that is in the second Alpine. So, again, look forward to that. Drake Dempsey, we've definitely seen before. Once or twice. Symbolics, no idea. That's a new one to me, so looking forward to that. Who else can we see? Yeah, Yves Van Pookie and Christoph Zeller wearing the Future Esports, the FES tags. So look forward to them. Joseph Loke, as you mentioned earlier, we've definitely seen him alongside Sam McBride. We have got 18 in the lobby, and I have a feeling that might be what we are running with, but we will see. So short qualifying and then 28 laps of this glorious American tarmac to then deal with. I'm just keeping an eye on the chat to see who is, see what the latest is, if we've got anybody else hopping on board. Obviously, we have got qualifying, so they will have a few minutes. In chat, those that are watching along, make yourselves known. Who are you supporting? How well will your favourites do? We will see when we get qualifying session underway.
Absolutely, of course. 18 minutes of a short qualifying session where all 20 drivers are going to be competing for pole position around this wonderful USA circuit, the circuit of Americas, and I'll run you through some facts. First breaking ground on the 31st of December 2010, hosting its first Formula 1 race in 2012, designed by a very notable man himself, Herman Tilke, and I have to say this is one of the better tracks that he's designed. I know he's made some proper stinkers in the past, but COTA is a very wonderful circuit right in the heart of Austin, Texas. 3.4 kilometers long and 20 turns in total. It's a very grueling circuit, but there are plenty of opportunities to overtake. Isn't that right, Chris?
Absolutely true. Now, your main braking zones, your main operating opportunities are turn 1, the very steep uphill braking zone, almost hairpin, then left-hander that then heads back downhill into the twisties, into the rest of Sector 1, which is turns 2 through to 9. Now, turn 1, it is very deceptive on how steep that actually is. It's really, really steep. It looks steep on camera. It's a lot steeper than it looks as well, from what I've been told. I have never been there. I haven't been to America. I would love to actually do so, but no, I haven't been to the States just yet. Turn 11, another common overtaking spot. You've just got out of the twisties. You've flown through turn 10, which in these cars is flat, even in the wet. And then a big, heavy braking zone, another hairpin left-hander. And then turn 12, the braking zone at the end of the long straight, is going to be probably the most common overtaking spot. You've been under DRS for a little while, and we'll see a few banzais and a few mistaking banzais as well into 12. You might get a bit of a look in turn 20, the final turn, before coming on to the start-finish straight, if someone's got the rest of Sector 3 wrong. But turns 1, 11 and 12 are your main overtaking spots.
Absolutely, and that first corner, of course, being uphill, it means drivers can brake a little bit later and there's a bit more leeway on the lockups, but that is a very difficult corner to get absolutely right. The sharpest corner by far on this track, where you've really got to get the turn in perfect. There's also a few different lines you can take if you run deep on the brakes, and you can cut back and get a quicker run off the exit and into the S's section, and then you can go deep up the inside and try and slow down your rivals, trying to get that better run. So there's a lot of variation that you can do, and of course there's been home to a number of other motorsport events such as the W Series, MotoGP, even NASCAR at some points, which hasn't gone too well in the past. But I'm delighted to let you all know that we are finally getting ready to go into the lobby. You can hear the ticking in the background, so we will join you on the other side after a quick word from our sponsors. And here we are back into the race scene now, where we're getting ready for qualifying. There seems to be a slight issue here because
I think we're going straight into race. So are we going straight into a random grid? Let's just say that Discord exploded at this point. This is going to be interesting. Are they going to run? It is a social event, so we will see. I could have sworn I saw short qualifying was there, but well, they're going, so they're going to run with it. Oh, that's brave. Oh, there's people spinning already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling that we might be doing this again. I'd have loved to have seen that. You're right. Then again, I am a fan of random grids. I do like random grids. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love random grids myself. But yeah, I'm now seeing lots and lots of people leaving the sessions. That's a shame. I would have really been up for that. But either way, no, the lobby is being remade. So we won't get to see the random grid take effect. We will see short qualifying. In fairness, I am certain I did see short qualifying was there. So either way, we're not running with that lobby.
No. I'll bring us back over to the intermission screen. Apologies for that, everyone, but you got to see everyone having a nice little spin, and there's a lot of laughs in the live chat, and for that you can blame Jack West, our lobby host for this evening. But we'll get ready to restart. Apologies, it just means we have more time to have a nice little chat about the race tonight, and let's see what the live chat is saying. We've got who's racing in this. We've gone through the entire grid. There's plenty of talented drivers. Is Jan Ortmer driving this race? Jan Ortmer is not, but you can catch him next week on Wednesday for the Austrian Grand Prix among a plethora of esports drivers and up-and-coming stars, so make sure you catch that. Jano is not driving, but his protege, SXT Symbolics, is. Of course, Symbolics, one of our drivers for this evening, coming over from the PlayStation platform, I believe only just recently. I haven't got to commentate over him myself, but I am familiar with him racing in the past, I think, in on some PlayStation leagues and indeed PSGL on the PlayStation. He's only put the race on. Was it Will that's hosting? So apologies, it's actually Will Lewis that's caused our issues today. I'm sorry, Jack, for blaming you there.
Okay, I have got an invite, so I am rejoining the lobby once again, Mr. Field. So bounce off of me if you're not already here. You are already here. Marvellous.
Now Luke's our lobby host, so I'm just more and more confused. Hopefully the game doesn't glitch out and give us a race again, because I'm sure it was definitely a short qualifying there.
I swear that's what it said, and it does say it again as well, in fairness. So, as I just mute everybody in the lobby, yeah, I'm convinced this definitely said it when I joined. Either way, it didn't give us a qualifying session. As I would have been up for that. I would have absolutely been up for that. But like I say, I love random grids. I know not everybody does. And the reason why I love random grids, or reverse grids as well, I've commentated on numbers of reverse grids or part reverse grids. And it's because I generally am a slower driver. So, of course, I would prefer a reverse or random grid. It just spices everything up. But I think we're going to have quite enough spice already with this lot.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would have been interesting to see a randomised grid, but I think that makes more sense for 5-lap lobbies and such, and this is a 50% race, so that could cause some issues, but I'm certainly the same as you. You know, I'm not a very good driver, and so I'd love to be starting right at the front where all the fast drivers are right at the back. That'd be perfect for me, but it's a tough world for the slower drivers out here, so we've got to make do with the 18-minute short qualifying session. But it just means we get to see more and more action. Of course, if we didn't get this qualifying session, we'd only have the 45-minute or so race, but we get that extra 18 minutes to see all the drivers in action today.
Very, very true. So we're just waiting for the last driver. We're waiting for one, I believe it's Oscar Villacampa, and apparently the internet has gone down in his village, so that'll be interesting. So tonight's going very well for Lobby 2. Lobby 1, I think, got underway without too much trouble. We seem to be having some difficulty getting out the blocks. So if another driver makes themselves available as long as it's okay to by Connor, our big white chief, then we will get this underway as quickly as we can, or we might run with 19. We will see what decision is made and get the show on the road. Again, apologies for the delay. We will get going as quickly as we can as soon as someone fills the void. Do you fancy it, Dan? I could try out the VR in this. I mean, I'd be last and lapped very badly. I haven't had a chance to try VR in this. I am a VR nut. Big VR nut. So that's one thing I was really looking forward to trying in this game.
Yeah, I've never actually used a VR headset in my life, actually, and I've seen it in other games like Assetto Corsa and such, but I've never actually seen any footage really of F1. So maybe if you set up a Discord stream, we could go on board with you at some point. But no, I think it's best we stick to the commentary box and let the professionals do their thing, because I think, quite frankly, if either of us were to get into a seat, we would be atrocious and a waste of space.
You're not wrong on my behalf. That's certainly true. I remember doing a league race in Ginettas some years ago, not in F1, obviously, and it was at Kota, and I was very much last and lapped. it didn't do a lot for the old pride, I can tell you. So still some deliberation on who our 20th driver is going to be, or whether we run with 19. So as soon as we know, we will get either another driver in or get the show on the road. We hoping we'll get the show on the road shortly, as I'm sure 19 will give us just as good an event as the 20 drivers would.
Yeah, I think we are getting ready to go with 19. I've seen WOR Leonard has joined the session in the AlphaTauri. I don't know if he was there before or not, but that's another driver in the mix, well known on the PC platform. We are finally getting ready to head in for 18 minutes of qualifying, and it should be a cracker.
Will we get qualifying this time, ladies and gentlemen? Place your bets now. Let's see. Yeah, the qualifying. Now, it does say short, and again, in fairness to, was it Will, who was the last lobby host, I'm certain it said short on my screen for qualifying last time. But it does say short qualifying on the loading screen this time. It said race last time. So either way, we now have a qualifying session. 18 minutes to decide who is going to start where for our 19 drivers here at Texas. Are we going to have... I didn't see if we were going to have... I think the weather was going to be set to dry, but that would be interesting if he's left that dynamic and we get some wet weather. But again, I'm sure the drivers would not be best pleased about that one. It's Texas. It's going to be bone dry, isn't it? Well, even if he... Well, they do know what rain is. No, it's bone dry.
It's nice and sunny, clear blue skies out in Texas at the moment. The crowd is waiting in anticipation. We finally do have 18 minutes of qualifying on your screen. Place your bets, everybody, in the live chat. Get them in early as to who you think is going to be on pole position for this evening. And Chris, shot in the dark, who are you going for?
For pole or for win?
For pole position. We'll do the win when we're in the formation
we'll do the win sensible money would say Lou Smith. Now, I'm going to put Smith for the win, but I reckon someone's going to steal the pole away. I'm going to, again, pull a name out of the air almost. I'm going to go Heath Van Pookie. Why not?
Okay, Heath Van Pookie currently in the pit lane. I'm sure we'll see him out on the circuit very, very shortly. At the moment, we're watching Xander Van Dyken, the Aston Martin driver for today. I believe another one who joined a bit last minute, but it's good to see the Dutchman is now on PC, of course. I believe a few seasons ago, I think season 27 or season 28 it was, he was the F2 champion on PlayStation. So it's good to see him today, but I'm not going to select him for my pole position. I'm going to say Will Lewis is going to take pole, of course. I've been commentating on Will since AOR back in F1 2019 and in F3, so he's come a long way since then. Now towards the pinnacle of league racing. He had some F1 appearances last season on the previous game, and I've got high hopes for him today.
AOR, my old stomping grounds. That's where I cut my sim racing commentary teeth. Was AOR. That's where I very first started when I made a nuisance of myself, rose through the F1 ranks, and now I'm here at the glorious PSGL.
Absolutely, what an evolution for us all to be in PSGL, and what a time it has been as we watch for Xander Van Dyken to get his lap underway. We'll watch on board with the Dutchman as he rises up the hill, coming to the peak of the crest, and then turning it in to hit the apex very nicely on the first corner, headed towards the twisty section where it's very easy to run wide if you carry too much speed and then invalidate your lap. We'll see how he gets on as he weaves left, right and back again once more as he now comes through a slightly slower part. We've got to apply the brakes at some points, headed down into fourth gear, short shifting to get the traction down as well, running it out wide towards the end of the first sector. That is where the hard part is finished now. Heavy braking down in towards turn number 11 to prepare yourself for the long back straight here, where you're going to see the pinnacle of speed. We'll get the telemetry on your screen just so you could see the peaks that they're reaching of speeds of excess up to around about 197 miles per hour, at the braking zone, and now in towards the third sector as oh dear, he kicks a little bit of a slide, the tail end of the car jittering out a little bit, and so far so good it seems, Chris.
So far so good indeed. Now coming through turn 15. Through now the treble right-hander, keeping the car nice and settled. This track requires really, really good cornering efficiency. You need a decent amount of downforce to keep the car stable through the never-ending and assault of twists and turns. But that, of course, compromises you a bit on the longer straight as the Aston Martin gets a big squiggly coming through turn 20. 133.0 the first time on the board. Jan Halliday next over the line. Then Joseph Loke. 32.6 for him. W.O. Leonard, 39, I think it's fair to say. There's a bit of improvement to be found in the AlphaTauri. Who is next over the line? That's not Isran Puki, but Arda Ganai. Okay, so starting a lap for him. Will Lewis now to the top of the tree at 32.5. Never mind, Andre Terabukin, 32.506 for him. Next is one of the Red Bulls, I think. No, that was Symbolics. Wrong car. That's the Alpine that's come over the line. Who is next? That's our Haas. That's one of the Haases. That would be Dempsey. Drake Dempsey's just come over the line. Modesto Mena, a 32.428 on the board for him. Tom Martinez, 33.4. Puts the Ferrari into ninth. Sam McBride, he's got time to find, I think it's fair to say. Ifran Pookie, who's my bet for pole. 32.521. So already, as we tend to see here at PSGL, the banker laps are very, very close.
Absolutely. Let's get your gap to the leader up on screen so you can see how close everything is between the drivers. And look at that, the top three separated by less than a tenth of a second, and where all the representative times fall at the moment, the top 7 by just about 2/10 of a second, the top 10 by 9/10. It's safe to say that the likes of Symbolics, Leonard and Sam McBride have all got to improve on their runs, and I actually think Sam is pushing for another lap. But at the end of the first runs of laps, we've got Modesto Mena in the McLaren car out on top at the moment. Andre Tarabukin, an impressive performance so far from him in P2. Yeah, we know he likes to use that Ferrari. It's Van Pookie, of course, Chris's pick for pole position has put himself in third. My pick for pole has gone fourth position. Where can Sam McBride find himself as he's in towards now the final sector, up towards the triple right-hander, where of course Max Verstappen overtook Kimi Räikkönen on the last lap of the 2017 Grand Prix to have possibly one of the most awkward cool-down room meetings of all time. As all dear Sam McBride, unfortunately running slightly wide off the exit of turn number 19. He has to pull into the pits, and it's an invalid lap for the Englishman.
Yeah, Thomas Lohmanden is on track as well, but his lap is invalid, so he will not be setting a time. CTG Christmas, that's not an awkward name to say at all. In the Alpine, just coming through, where are you? Turn 14, that's where you are. So he's on his lap, along with Luke Smith, who is my bet for the race win. He's just coming up towards the final turn to start his time lap. And Salim Arkin as well in the second Alpine. Coming down towards turn 12 on his outlap as well. I'm going to keep an eye on actually Joseph Loke. Is that another? He's done several laps actually. This is his third time lap, I think, on those tyres. Or no, second. Beg your pardon. No, it is. Beg your pardon. No, he's done 2. So his third time lap on those softs. That's a little unusual. But then this is what we saw last week, wasn't it? It was in the social race, and no one uses anything other than softs. So we'll see. As the Mercedes just gives him a twitch and just pushes him too wide on the exit of the final turn and denies him another lap. That's Joseph Loke back in the pits, currently 5th with a 32.615.
That was similar to what happened with Sam McBride there. Both Mercedes going off at turn number 19 and unfortunately making a mess of their runs. They currently sit in 5th and 13th. At least Joseph Loke was able to get in a decent lap time. Sam McBride is yet to do so. Seems like a lot of drivers are coming out for their outlaps once again, but we can see that Luke Smith has got no traffic up in front of him, and on the track map according to that on the bottom right, he's gone purple in the second sector. So we'll see what the McLaren driver, of course, a part of the Alpine Academy, we'll see what he can do. DNFing in lobby 1, coming back to race in lobby 2 with just 9 minutes left to go in this 18-minute qualifying session. He's now through turn number 19, which is arguably one of the most dangerous corners to invalidate on, as out the exit of turn number 20, the final corner, and to go top by quite some margin. Wow. A 1 minute 31.104, a full 3/10 ahead of his teammate Modesto Mena, making it a 1-2 for McLaren.
A 32-1. That's that's quite a target for everybody else to chase. Thomas Laminen is apparently he's having game freezing trouble, so in the Red Bull, he's just pulling back into the pits. So he's having a bit of difficulty with his setup at the moment. Jack West is out there in the Williams, so just coming through sector 1 now for his first time lap. Wow. 4 thousandths behind Luke Smith. Salim Arkin. Wow. God, talk about the what we were saying earlier about the lesser known names making the established names work for it. Wow, what a stunner! And that's the first time lap from Salim as well.
Absolutely, that's fantastic from Salim Arkin, and I hope I'm saying that name right, of course. And if anyone knows what his previous game, like if he had a gamer tag before, I know a lot of these guys used to run under different aliases, but now that they're using their actual names in these races, if anyone knows what his previous gamer tag was, because he's just come out of nowhere here, and I'm not too sure what he's done here, but he's gone 4 thousandths off of Luke Smith, who was of course competing at the pro exhibition not too long ago, and doing quite well in it. So that is a very impressive time from Salim. We'll see if his teammate, not his teammate, but the Williams driver of Jack West out the final turn, if he can get anywhere near these guys. He goes into third position, but that's still 3/10 of a second off the top two.
Yeah, it was a huge lockup there for Jack West coming into the final corner. Will Lewis, a 32.165. Now we're starting to see a bit less sandbagging going on with 7.5 minutes to go. Now the 32.1 starting to become a little bit more regular. Only Thomas Laminen is without a time. Again, that's an invalid. Well, he's on his out lap, so he can invalidate that all he likes. Hopefully his technical issues resolve themselves before the end of the day. So we'll see how well he does. Ace Rampuki's just reclaimed 7th with a 32.502. So yes, about 4/10 off the top spot at the moment, which, well, I would have said that was very, very hard to reach, but 3 drivers now in the 32.1. 4 drivers, Andre Tarabukin now puts the Ferrari into third with a 32.124. 4 drivers in the same 10th of a second.
This is very tight and close racing. Well, not even racing, just laps in qualifying. Sam McBride, he tries his best. He's a quarter of a second off the top step, or pole position as it is at the moment, and he's gone into 5th place. Modesto Mena pulling into the pit lane now. I believe Leonard might be up next to come towards the line. He's improved by 4 seconds, but he's still 7 off, as we got a car out off the circuit. That might be Jack West, and it indeed is. He's just completely stopped off the circuit. He might have some wheel issues. He's now pulling into a reverse gear, and I think, yeah, that's some issues for Jack West. As I think now, Chris, what we're seeing is oh dear, he's been disqualified, so that's his qualifying completely over. But what we're seeing now is sort of everyone pulling into the pit lane and getting their preparations down for their final laps in qualifying.
Absolutely, yeah. Big shame there for Jack West. Some technical trouble has befallen him. I'm keeping an eye on the Discord to see if he reports what that trouble is. Thomas Laminen, the only man without a time on the board, now coming down towards turn 12. Is he able to do anything about his current position? Bit of a lockup then coming into the braking zone, but does manage to get the car slowed down into 13. Kisses the apex that the car just stays settled through 14 and swing wide for a later apex into 15. Now hard on the gas and use as much You generate as much G-force as you dare. Coming up through the gears. Can he get this one nicely turned in? No, too much apex there. It's such a fine line between getting that really, really nicely and as well drifting into the pit lane. Probably frustration for Thomas Laminen. That's a shame. That would have been a fairly decent time lap for the Red Bull, but alas, invalidated in the penultimate corner.
Unfortunate for Thomas Laminen there, and he's got to be frustrated about his run in qualifying so far, having screen freezing issues, which has unfortunately become sort of a factor on this game. And yeah, it's just really, really bad luck for him. As pulling into the pit lane now is Xander Van Dijk, and I think Joseph Loke might be going for another run. We do have a few drivers out on laps at the moment. Luke Smith, we just saw, is a 10th down in the first sector, but we do have TTG Christmas. I believe that is because he's actually called Noel, and so there's the Christmas connections there. Of course, I've known him for quite some time on the PlayStation platform, racing in F1. I think it was season 26, formerly a part of NWS, which used to be a highly regarded F1 esports team, now unfortunately dissolved. And at the moment, he's almost 3/10 up on his previous best. This could see him around about the top 10 positions. Not too much of an improvement on where he is at the moment, which is of course 13th place, but in towards the final sectors where he can make up a lot of time as he pulls in towards the triple right-handed corner, which is going to swing quickly in towards turn number 19. Very easy to invalidate through here if he can get this right. He's nailed it on the head, but I think he's looking at the bigger picture. He'll have better track evolution if he waits it out and goes for his lap later on. And so Christmas pulling into the box.
Joseph Loke has invalidated his time, so he will not be improving this time around from his 32.396. Apparently Jack West wanted to start from the back, so he disqualified him. Well, parking on track will do that. Fair enough. Set a benchmark and disqualify yourself. That's an unusual way of conducting your qualifying, Mr. West. But who are we to deny your fun? A social race is the time to do that, I suppose. We'll see how well that goes for him. Who else is on a lap? Symbolics. No, you've invalidated yours, so no improvement for you. Salim Arkin is on an out lap as well in the second placed Alpine. Sam McBride is out there. Modesto Mena, Xander Van Dyken, Jan Halliday is out on track. Tom Martinez, Arda Ganai, and WOR Leonard are on track at the moment. Who is going to be starting their next time lap? It's Symbolics. So the Williams then, 16th position, 33.964, starts what is going to be his last time lap. Unless he does two on these set of tyres, he's already got one lap on him. So we'll see what he's able to do. Everybody except Joseph Loke out on track.
And Joseph Loke, I'd imagine he's not going to get out there in time to get around the circuit on his out lap and properly, get his time in. So I think his day is done. And
he's coming out. He's actually left his pit garage. My God, he's going to have to go and hope he doesn't get caught up in traffic.
Yeah, he's gonna have a few issues. I think. I don't believe he's gonna make it. Unfortunately, Leonard has invalidated his run, as has Jan Halliday. Arda Ganai is still going, as is Xander Van Dyken, who's just begun on his run. And I think the man we need to watch out for at the moment, who's begun his lap a lot earlier than most of his rivals, is Salim Arkin. 4,000ths off of Luke Smith at the moment, and a relative unknown in the league racing and PSGL scene. We'll see what he can do, as he is up on his previous best in Sector 1. It's only 200ths, but when you get to this level of the game, those margins could be the difference between pole position and starting in maybe third or fourth place. So Salim has got to take all the time he can as he gets ready to take this long back stretch. He's got, I think, Sam McBride or Joseph Loke in front of him. One of the Mercedes, I believe it is Joseph Loke, or someone who's recharging the battery, as in towards now turn number 12. What is the improvement for Arkin going to be? It's going to be 2/10 up on his previous best, and this unknown in this lobby, from my perspective at least, Chris, he's looking very strong for pole position.
He is indeed. Luke Smith is out there as well. He started his final time lap of the run. Ardaganai and Symbolics have both come in. Their day is done. Where's Joseph Loke? You are not going to make it from there. So, yep, and he's pulled off. So, Joseph Loke, or pulling out of the way, I should say. So, Joseph Loke is done. Xander Van Dyken, I'm going to get that name wrong a few times. Salim Arkin has gone under. Sam McBride's disqualified himself. So Salim Arkin has broken 132. He is the only man so far to do so. And Luke Smith is down on his, only by half a tenth, but he's down on his previous pole time. So, now then. Andre Tarabukin is down as well. He's down by a tenth. He may not improve. What about Will Lewis? Can he improve? We've got more cars coming over the line. Who's about to do so? That's Modesto Mena. What can he do? That's fifth with a 32.323 on the board for him. One of the Ferraris coming through. Andre Tarabukin. Did he find any more time? No, I think he's still a tenth down. Did he find any more? Yes, he did! He found a tenth and a half in the final sector at 31.978 for the Ferrari. Next over the line is a Haas. Is it Halliday? Well, Halliday's off the road, so it's Drake Dempsey. Where did he go? He went into sixth position.
Watch out for Luke Smith through the final corner now. And he's up on his previous best. 1/10 off the top. He goes on pole. 1 minute 39. 1 minute 39. 1 minute 31.939. Clears himself ahead of Andre Tarabukin. And it is Luke Smith reclaiming the top step in quali as Istvan Pukki is going to cross the line with an invalid run, and that is going to be his day done in 10th place. But what a finish in qualifying for Luke Smith, going to the top step.
Oh, didn't he just? And I said I wouldn't go for the obvious choice, and I wish I'd stuck with it now. But Luke Smith then by less than half a tenth from Andre Tarabukin. Then it is Salim Arkin, Will Lewis on row 2, Christoph Zeller and Drake Dempsey on row 3, Modesto Mena and Joseph Loke on row 4, Xander Van Dyken and Istvan Pukki on row 5, Jan Halliday and Tom Martinez row 6, Thomas Laminen and TTG Christmas on row 7, WOR Leonard and Arde Ganai on row 8, Symbolics and Sam McBride on row 9, with Jack West at the tail end of the field. So Sam and Jack getting themselves disqualified for parking in a spot not designated for spectators. So they will be starting at the back.
Absolutely, and I'll bring you back over to the intermission screen just while we get ready to go in to this race. 28 laps of the Circuit of Americas, where it's going to be very tricky for our runners today. We believe it is going to be dry running, and yep, it's clear blue skies. And we will get ready. Everyone's just got to lock in their strategies and then get prepared to start this race. But now that you've seen the qualifying, Chris, who are you going for the win?
Well, I earmarked one certain Luke Smith to take the top spot, and for the race at least, I wish I'd stuck with him in qualifying because he did the deed again. My bet for pole was down in 10th. Yours was 4th, I believe. Will was in 4th in the end. So I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick to the McLaren, or the McLaren in this race, and go Luke.
So it's going to be a lights to flag win from the perspective of Chris. I'm going to stick to my guns here, and I'm going to say Will Lewis is going to take the win. He's just got that dog in him. You know, I think he really can do it. We are still waiting for people to actually load in here. I don't even believe they've actually got into the MFD or anything like that. Is it the MFD? The little tablet where you get to select your strategies. But they will be getting ready to start this session. We will head over to a quick word from our sponsors, and we will. You can rejoin us on the formation lap. So everybody, see you in just one moment. Welcome back, everybody, to now the formation lap of this race, and all the drivers rolling off of the pits. We'll see what tyres everyone has opted for. And look at this, Chris, quite a split in the strategies.
We had this last week, didn't we, where we had quite a mixture of tyres no one's going with soft to start with, and I'm not surprised. Kota is a bit of a tyre muncher. Jack, seriously, you're making this as difficult for yourself as you possibly can. Hard tyres, disqualified from qualifying you starting at the back anyway, and now he's going to have stone cold hard tyres. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, some medium runners in there. So Salim Arkin, we've seen, was the first one to get sub 132 in qualifying, so most certainly got a lot of pace. He could be a bit of a dark horse to try and charge past Smith and Tarabukin, or he will want to do that. He'll want to do that anyway, but of course with the softer rubber, that's what he's going to aim to do. Yeah, curious option for those more towards the back to run with the medium tyres as opposed to the hards. Yeah, this ought to be interesting. It gave us a lot of surprises last week as well. So, yeah, this is going to be even more fun.
Yeah, of course, everyone at the back starting on a set of the medium tyres. For the most part, we've got the likes of Leonard, Ardaganai and Symbolics, as well as Thomas Lamanen. They're going to be really applying the pressure to the likes of Pookie, Haladej, Martinez, who are just a few cars up the road from them. Curious strategy from Jack West to get himself disqualified on the formation lap, and I know that heating up tyres on this game is very, very difficult, so if he's starting right at the back of the field on stone cold hards, it will be very, very difficult for him. But now, this is wonderful to see, now that we have the manual where the drivers put themselves into their own grid slots, it brings a little bit more realism into the starts as they're going to pull up to their grid box. We'll watch from the perspective of Sam McBride, our last driver on this formation lap. He'll be starting from 18th position. A lot of work to do on that set of the hard compound of tyre, but he's now going to be pulling into his grid slot, where it's now all going to fall silent on the grid as we get ready for the start of this social race here in Austin, Texas. 5 red lights. And we are underway. Who has got the better start out of the leaders? It looks to be Luke Smith pulling away in towards the first corner. Andre Tarabukin looking towards the inside line, pinned to the left-hand side, but it is the Ferrari diving to the inside line of Luke Smith, and Tarabukin takes the lead. Joseph Locus somehow jumped up to 3rd place already. What a start from the Mercedes drivers. Will Lewis now scrapping it out with Drake Dempsey, who's found himself in 4th position. They're going to be weaving through the S's section now, and they're all going to be swapping and tumbling all over the place. Selimi Arkin has had a terrible start. He's now down into 6th position as we got a spinner at the back. That is the Dutchman Xander van Dijken as well as Istvan Pookie. The pair of them going around early on.
How the hell did Joseph Lowe do that? What a start on the medium tyres as well, giving the McLaren a bit of a nudge whilst he's at it. Storming start from Tarabukin, just nailed that perfectly. Yeah, Salim Arkin down to 6th already on the medium tyres, not ideal. But what on earth does Joseph Lowe have for breakfast?
Luke Smith.
Tarabukin and Smith having an argument into turn 12. The McLaren trying to get the inside line, the Ferrari giving racing room. Can Luke Smith hold on to it? The inside line's going to go back towards the Ferrari. Coming through turn 13, that's a definitely advantage. Luke Smith, he's still in the lead. Here comes Look, had a think about it on the inside line, couldn't quite commit to it. He's going to be forcing the outside line for 16 through to 18. Can he hold it? He's on the softer tyres. He could do it. Side by side for the Ferrari and the Mercedes. That gives Lowe the inside line. Punches the Ferrari in the face. Here comes Dempsey now. Can he get involved? Yes, he can. Inside line for the final corner. The Ferrari just holds on. What a start to the race.
An explosive lap 1 here as Luke Smith just beginning to stretch his advantage already. Joseph Lowe, what a start from the PSR representative. He's now up into 2nd position on the medium compound of tyre. Drake Dempsey has had a fantastic getaways now as well, as he's now onto the rear of Andre Tarabukin by about 1.5 tenths of a second following in this first sector. Can he possibly find an opportunity, maybe down in towards turn number 11? Don't forget the likes of Will Lewis and Modesto Mena, as well as Christoph Zeller. 7 cars in this train, and Tom 97 as well. Tom Martinez has had a fantastic start. He's now up into 8th position as they file down in towards this long back straight without any DRS thus far. Thomas Lamanen on his medium compound of tyre looks to be closing to the rear of the Ferrari occupied by Tom Martinez. Can he possibly possibly find a route up the inside in towards turn number 12. He's gaining. He's in the wheel tracks of the Ferrari. He's got to pull to the inside line. Going to be an easy move up the inside unless Tom Martinez has anything to say about it. Not quite, as the Finn gets the move done.
And already that Tara Buchan's in danger of falling outside of a second from the top two. So that's going to really hinder his chances to try and get involved in that lead battle. Luke Smith is trying to check out up front. Joseph Loke is trying to deny him that particular honour. Salim Akim right the way down to 18th place. The front wing looks like it's intact. So what on earth has gone on there for the Alpine? I really have no idea. Fastest, well, unsurprisingly, the fastest lap going to the medium shod Mercedes of Joseph Loke at this stage. Lots of fighting throughout the field at the moment when DRS kicks in. Well, some interestingly, Markin, he's now getting back into his stride. Fastest lap of the field. Lots of fighting towards the back. Christmas and Van Dijken are having an argument, along with Halliday and Jack West for, 16th and 12th, respectively, as also both the Alpines at the tail end of the field. Now, what can Joseph Loke do this time around? I think everybody except for Istvan Pukki may well have DRS, although again Terry Buchan may have just fallen outside of a second at the crucial time. Now let's see, does the DRS flap open on the Ferrari? Keeping an eye on that one. It certainly will for the Mercedes behind Luke Smith. Actually, Terry Buchan's got very little DRS energy left and no DRS for the Ferrari either. So Joseph Loke flies past the McLaren and takes the lead.
Yep, and that is P1 for Joseph Loke on lap number 3, utilising the DRS to his advantage. The other McLaren is in the wars, as well as Christoph Zeller tries to make the move around the outside in towards now the third sector. Oh, it's a little bit of wheel bang. Modesto Mena just about going to come out on top in this particular occasion. Thomas Laminen as well looking to get an eye in. He's on the softer medium tyres. Can he use that to his advantage? As oh dear, a slide for Mena. Where can Laminen fit in here? As in towards now turn number 19. He gets close to the rear of the McLaren car, but he can't quite make that move stick. This time by is in towards now lap number 4. Joseph Loke with the fastest lap of the race. Luke Smith, he's trying to keep him company, but those hard tyres going to be very difficult to do so, as we're watching on the front wing of Thomas Laminen. Can he look towards the inside? He can't quite this time by. What about Leonard as he goes up the inside of Tom Martinez? And certainly at this point in the race, only 4 laps in here, Chris, it seems like the mediums are well in their working temperature.
Very much so. Luke Smith is still nailed to the back of Joseph Loke for the lead. So even though the medium shot Mercedes is the fastest going out there with the fastest lap, of course, Luke Smith has managed to stay very much in the tyre tracks of the now race leader and is still trying to keep the DRS broken to the Ferrari behind. So absolutely great stuff. But Luke Smith has got absolutely no ERS energy left either. So can Luke Smith do anything about it, or is he just going to stay there? I think he's just going to stay there for the time being. Oh, no, he's not. Here he comes. He backed out of it right at the very end there. And he could have made the move, but would he have made it stick, though, with those hard tyres? Not quite in their operational range just yet. And the McLaren's getting very quickly coming through turn 14, whereas Andre Terry Buchan in the Ferrari behind has got Drake Dempsey and Will Lewis for company. The field now starting to break up a little bit of a gap back between 5th and 6th. Christoph Zeller now has Thomas Laminen, Modesto Mena, Leonard, Martinez. He's got quite a lot of the field for company from 6th down, right the way down to 18th, all in that particular train. And Istvan Pukki, after a disastrous start, he's closing in on this particular train as well. So plenty of fighting still to conclude.
Yeah, it seems like Zeller's just had issues with all that fighting with Modesto Mena. It's allowed for the drivers up the front of the order to slip away and all the drivers in behind to catch up. But on lap number 5, Luke Smith, you can see on his dashboard only 8% in the battery there, so he's not got anything to really fight Joseph Loke with at this point in the race. He knows he's going to have the advantage in the long term, where those hard tyres can go later into this race, and I'll have fresher rubber towards the end of the Grand Prix. Sam McBride making a move for 14th position ahead of Symbolics, who has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Luke Smith, not a good run out of turn number 11. He can see the blinking red lights on the rear of Joseph Loke, which means he also is without any ERS. It seems like all of these drivers are struggling with energy recovery. As oh dear, Sander Van Dijken's had an off somewhere. It seems like he's just retired on circuit because his
has,
car's still moving.
Yeah, it was turn 11. I was actually watching Salim Arkin trying a 3 wide, actually, or one of the 3 wide, going into turn 11. And unfortunately, that didn't go well for Xander Van Dijken. As he went off the track at turn 11, he decided to retire the car.
Oh, dear. And he really should have gone into the pit lane for that, but there's been no safety car brought out, so I'd say there's no harm done. But I think if this was a proper race, which of course is going to begin soon, he'd have got in trouble for that.
Yeah, certainly so. Symbolics, sadly, the first person on the penalty board has dropped down to the tail end of the field as he brings the Williams in. Not this time. And Jack West is continuing to make some moves. Jack West is now up 8 positions. Bearing in mind, he was starting from the back. He's now up into 11th position now. So he has gained the most amount from his starting position. Second only to the man that's just got a penalty, actually. Joseph Loke 7 positions up from his start, but he's now given himself a 3-second, along with Salim Arkin, who's now up to 15th following the really, really disastrous start. There's still plenty of cars in their sights. Certainly in Salim Arkin's sights. Of course, Luke Smith only looking at 1 in front and certainly under no pressure behind. 1.4 seconds now separate the McLaren and the Ferrari second to third. Luke Smith now has the opportunity to try and recharge his battery, although it is completely flat. It's 3%, so nothing realistically usable. And that's the thing, there's not many really heavy braking zones. There are a lot of small braking zones, but they haven't built up a lot of pace up to some of these braking points. The twisties between turns 2 and 9, they're on the brakes for such a tiny period of time that harvesting energy is made that much more difficult.
It is very difficult to recharge the battery around this circuit as Arda Ganai looks to the inside of Tom Martinez, who's gone off the circuit. Now Sam McBride looking to find a nose in here. Martinez rejoins ahead of the Alfa Romeo, and there's Sam McBride around the outside of Ganai, and he's now into 13th position. Ever the opportunist, the young Englishman, as Ganai looks towards the inside line in towards turn number 20. Oh dear, there's contact. Sam McBride sent into a spin. He sort of just turned in as he's left the session. That's his day done on lap number 6, and yeah, unfortunate stuff there. We didn't get quite the best camera angle to actually deem who was at fault there, but not the prettiest thing to see well on lap number 7.
No, I was riding on board with Arda Ganai there, and it looked like that Arda had a bit more space to use on the left, but I mean, it's not really going to go to the stewards. It's a social event after all, but unfortunate. It's never what you want to see. Sam McBride's car is still going, so he's probably just alt F4'd out of frustration, but the car is still rolling at least. So no safety car called out for his Mercedes. Up front now, Joseph Loke and Luke Smith now nearly 2 seconds. Well, they are 2 seconds ahead of Andre Charibukin. Will Lewis is just trying to get 2 positions here. He's gotten Drake Dempsey under DRS. Can he get the Ferrari trying to muscle his way past? Coming through turn 13. He wants the inside line for 15. Can't do it. Or can he? And the Ferrari did manage to close the door very briefly. Now the AlphaTauri muscling his way through. And can Dempsey follow? Charibukin got all kinds of out of shape and manages to hold it. Will Lewis, in the course of half a sector, he's up 2 and now up into 3rd.
Yeah, and that's the podium places for Will Lewis there. The big loser in all of that was Andrei Tarabukin. He's now down into 3rd place. And of course, the advantage is going to swing back the way of Drake Dempsey and Tarabukin, who are now in the wheel tracks and in DRS range of Will Lewis, who's not going to have that advantage. And of course, he's 2.8 seconds off the back of Luke Smith. But of course, at this point in the race, just got to have a quick sip of water. All this high octane stuff as Jack West has left the session. I think he.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. That's not good.
Ghosted car there, so technical trouble for Jack West. Hopefully he's able to rejoin because he was having a pretty good recovery race, I think it's fair to say. Also, something else to bear in mind that Will Lewis has around 30-ish% in his battery. The 2 in front have single digits, so could Will Lewis utilise that to try and close that gap down? Of course, he won't close the gap completely down, but he could well bring himself back into contention, or certainly try and close in a bit more of that gap. But yet again, Loke and Smith's pace has been absolutely electric
course, those medium tyres are going to soon begin to fall off for Joseph Loke. So I say the glory days are far behind, at least at this point. But it's not going to be feeling the best. They can certainly run for a bit longer in this race. I guess quite a few more runs actually. But those hards of Luke Smith and Will Lewis in behind as well are certainly going to be phasing into this race. But I'd imagine in the visor of Will Lewis, he won't be looking in front of him. He's going to be looking in his mirrors because he's got the American Drake Dempsey in behind him and Andrei Tarabukin as well in that Ferrari, as we can see them flying in towards the first corner. Drake Dempsey closing to the rear of the AlphaTauri, not quite getting the run to dive up the inside. It's not a place you really want to go for the move if you're going to have DRS for the next straight coming up, which is of course the run down in towards turn number 12. But here we are, the AlphaTauri, the Haas and the Ferrari filing in towards now the second sector. And Drake Dempsey is going to have DRS. He's going to be within attacking range of about 0.4 of a second is what you need down this back straight on Will Lewis. Can the Englishman utilise that battery's missed his apex entirely coming through the corner? This will allow for Drake Dempsey to close that gap as he opens up the rear flap. The DRS enabled. He's following in the wheel tracks and gaining on Will Lewis, but he just doesn't want to make the move. He could have used some of the battery that he has in reserves, but he hasn't. He's sticking in behind for the time being, and Will Lewis remains in third.
We'll see. I would imagine the medium runners might be thinking about a pit stop in the next few laps. Wouldn't have thought just yet. But we'll see then if our medium starters are going to start pestering their pit crews. I would think probably around between 12 and 15 are at a guess. I was just watching Joseph Lowe's cars again, who really is quickly. So I don't think there's a lot of life left in those tyres. We know there's not a lot of life left in the battery. But Will Lewis is kind of biding his time, it looks like. So he's not... well, that gap is continuing to increase. At the top, as soon as I mentioned pit stops, Ardiganai in the Alfa Romeo has now come in. So that'll be a set of hards going on for him, and as he of course tumbles down the order a little bit, Salim Akin is now back inside the top. Well, he's nearly inside the top 10 now, side by side with Lemon. Oh no, side by side coming down towards turn 2, send the Alpine into a spin. That's a shame, down to 14th, but back on track and see if he's able to recover again. That is indeed hard tyres on the Alfa Romeo of Ardiganai.
Here comes Luke Smith, now much closer than he has been in the past few laps to Joseph Loke, using the last of the battery to close that gap, pulling off to the left-hand side. And it seems like it's an easy move up the inside unless Joseph Loke tries to fight this one. Doesn't seem like it, but he gets the switchback move potentially on. He had a think about it. Luke Smith did well to cover off the line, and that is a change for the lead. And the other McLaren on Modesto Mena trying to get past Tuomas Laminen in towards the third sector. They're going to run wheel to wheel and towards this next left-hander where it's easy to lock up, but Mena has done very, very well, and he's got ahead of Laminen, and this seemingly is a change in the tide. Is Loke going to come into the pits? And indeed he is, pulling off to the left-hand side. It is now the former leader of this race, making up the most positions out of anyone so far today, pulling into the box. Do we expect the same from Laminen? He's staying out one extra lap here.
Indeed, so hard tyres for Joseph Loke then. Another penalty on the board. It's Christmas this time. Leonard is coming in along with Salim Akin. So most of the medium starters have opted to come in this time. And Symbolics as well as what the AlphaTauri. So the only one that didn't, as you say, was Thomas Laminen. I thought they would go a little bit longer than that on the starting mediums, but it's not entirely surprising if they haven't, because just as I mentioned, Laminen, he gets himself a 3-second penalty. I was actually riding on board with him when that happened, so a proper commentator's curse there. Oh, Symbolics didn't come in. I thought I saw his car in the pits. No, he's opted to continue as well. So 2 of the medium starters yet to pester their pit crews. Where did so Luke Smith then, how far is he going to go? There's another one with the penalties. Less drivers without penalties than with them now, as everybody's still getting to grips with the game, grip being the optimum phrase there. We'll see how well everybody's able to do so. Luke Smith now 4 seconds to the good over Will Lewis. But plenty of things can still change. As, of course, this is Luke's second run of the evening, and the second he was in the first lobby, but sadly didn't have as much luck as he's having now. So having another go at it in the second lobby. That's Tarabukin.
He's gone off.
Oh no, Tarabukin's gone off at 16-17.
Yeah, just spotted that. On the right-hand side, it was a Ferrari just going straight on there. And heartbreak, really, for Andrei Tarabukin. He's still been able to rejoin in this race, but quite a ways back. He's fallen in just 2.2 seconds ahead of Istvan Buki, who was following right at the back of the grid. So it really has not gone the way of Andrei Tarabukin. He's got to recuperate and try and get himself back into this race, but it is just one less driver to pester the rear of Will Lewis, who has only got Drake Dempsey and Christoph Zeller in his wheel tracks. On lap number 8, we are nearing the halfway stage. Symbolics has pulled into the box. It doesn't seem like any of the medium runners are trying to go for mediums to soft, which I remember, I think on F1 2020, that was certainly a viable strategy choice around this circuit, but not anymore. As I'd imagine these hard runners are probably going to look towards the mediums if they want to box early. Maybe some of them are going to try extend it and go on to a set of the softs, but in towards the braking zone at turn number 12. No one making a move this time by. Drake Dempsey, you can see on his dashboard, has got plenty of ERS. He's got more than Will Lewis in front of him. And indeed Christoph Zeller behind him. So at this point in this train, Chris, seems like Drake Dempsey has the advantage.
Does seem so at the moment. We'll see if he's going to press that advantage a little bit further behind him. As Modesto Mania has got Thomas Laminen and Jan Halliday for company. Now, I think the tyres on the Red Bull have absolutely had it. He's gone on a bit longer than the rest of the medium starters. And he's going on again. Wow, he is going a long way on these medium tyres compared to the rest of the medium starters. I thought it would be kind of now that he's coming in. And Tarabukin is in. And he's retiring the car in the pit lane. That's a shame for the Ferrari. But another one down. So Zander Van Dijken and Andrei Tarabukin now forced to sit out the race. Well, they both opted to retire their cars, in fairness. So there's Laminen. Oh, I'm on board with Laminen, I should say. He continues to chase Modesto Mania. Salim Arkin is finding pace again on the harder tyres now. So he's really pressing on. Again, we saw some impressive pace for him in qualifying. And for whatever reason, fell down through the field. And is now chasing Ardiganai and WOR Leonard. And Leonard had a really squiggly moment coming down through turn 2 and 3. And Salim Arkin looks really ready to put the pressure on Ardiganai, nearly slamming into the back of him through the twisty section. As Laminen and Jan Halliday having an argument. The Haas getting a bit of a punch in the face from the Red Bull. But Halliday up into 6th position now. As the tyres continue to fade on the Red Bull.
Yeah, I'd imagine Laminen, he's got to pit eventually for a set of the hard compound of tyre. I don't know if his mediums are going to go long enough for him to actually be able to come into the box and fit a set of the soft compound of tyre. It'd be a very impressive feat for him to do so. And is he going to stay out? No, he gives in. He's going to come in after 13 laps on that set of the medium compound of tyre. He gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, just to add to his troubles. But the Red Bull driver going to get his car serviced. We've seen Salim Arkin get the move done on Ardiganai. Can he get it on WOR Leonard? The Alpine driver trying to just recover what he's lost so far. We saw him right at the sharp end of the grid in quali, as in towards the final corner. He's practically pushing that Alpha Tauri around the circuit. Is off the exit and headed in towards the first corner. It seems like it's a given that he's going to go up the inside line and take that position. P13 for Salim Arkin. He's going to make that move stick. Does Leonard have any answer? Not at all. So Arkin making that move stick, and he's up another one.
9 drivers are all that do not have a penalty. 8 do, 9 don't. So halfway through the field then, as Joseph Loke has just overtaken TTG Christmas. So the freshly reshod Mercedes has gotten past the Alpine. So Alpine's still on the starting tyres. Wondered if Christmas was thinking about an inside manoeuvre into turn 12. Bit of a lock-up there for Loke, but not anything too serious. Luke Smith continuing to build that lead to Will Lewis. 5.1 seconds between the two. As Drake Dempsey and Christoph Zeller still pressing on. Thomas Laminen adding to his penalty score for another 3. What are they up to? So Thomas Laminen is now up to 14 seconds worth of penalties now. That does include a 5-second speeding in the pit lane penalties. So he is definitely going for the highest score of the night as far as the penalty score is concerned. But still, plenty of pit stops still to enact. We'll see if that helps anyone's fortunes or hinders anyone's fortunes, of course, as Loke has just gone past Eastman Pookie. That is into turn 1. As the fresh tyres on the Mercedes helped him claim TTT Christmas, has now gotten past my original pole vote, Eastman Pookie, in the future esports squad in the Alfa Romeo tonight. And you can see just riding on board with Eastman, it's his car's starting to misbehave, so it could be that the prime of those hard tyres has now gone by.
Yep, but there are still runners out on that set of the tyre. We've got a battle for second position as Drake Dempsey had a think about going up the inside of Will Lewis in towards turn number 12, the heavy braking zone on this track at the end of the DRS straight. Hasn't quite worked out for him, but I think he wants Will to get a bit of a move on in this race, as Salim Arkin, you can see he's getting past the AI car of of Jack West, who's unfortunately had a game crash, and it seems like he's not been able to get back into the lobby, or maybe he's just not tried. But Joseph Loke will be closing to all these runners. The top 6 yet to pit in this Grand Prix. Joseph Loke in 7th, the lead runner who has come into the box. He'll be hunting them down and looking to pounce later on in this race. We're on lap number 16 now, where these hard tyres have been running for 15 laps in this race, and they're not looking too pretty at this point. We'll see. I'd imagine we're past the graining phase at this point, but they're not going to be feeling in the best condition.
And TTT Christmas, sadly, his game has crashed as well. So we've lost another runner from the race. That is a great shame. You never want to see a race end like that. Salim Akin again, fastest lap in the Alpine. He is in 12th then. 3.2 seconds to gain on Thomas Laminen, who's got another 6 seconds to gain to Tom Martinez to get himself into the top 10. Meanwhile, who else can we have a look at? So second, third and fourth still involved in their particular battle. Jan Halliday and Modesto Mania from McLaren and Haas having a bit of a squabble for 5th position. Now Dempsey has drawn alongside and ahead of Will Lewis. Can he hold it into turn 12? Yes, he can. Just about manages to shut the door. What about Halliday? Yep, both Hasses did exactly the same move at exactly the same place and they gained a position as a result. So Dempsey up to 2nd, Halliday up to 5th.
Yep, and I'd imagine that they're just going to start to think about getting the advantage over their rivals before they come into the pit lane, as Will Lewis getting a twitch on through the triple right-hander could open the door to a potential move for Christoph Zeller as in towards the final corners. Seems like Zeller's pulling to the inside line, and that is the first of the hard runners I guess all the hard runners that started on this compound. He's the first to come into the pit lane, as we'll see what tyres he's going to get fitted. We saw the mediums running around about 12 laps in this race, at least 15 in the case of Thomas Laminen. It's going to be a set of the mediums. Is anyone going to brave the softs, as Jan Halliday is going to fit the mediums? Tom Martinez is also in the pit lane. Laminen's in once again, and he's retiring from this race. Tom Martinez, what's he going to pit for? Is he's just waiting in the pit lane there? I think he had a penalty to be serviced, and he is also fitting the medium. So it seems like the general trend here, Chris, is that drivers are getting a set of the medium compound of tyre.
Very, very true. So Christoph Zeller then, the lead car of those that have pitted to the mediums. What's he got to gain? So let me see. What's the gap? So it's 26 seconds to Luke Smith at the moment. So I'm going to be interested to see how Zeller, how he does then on those medium tyres. He hasn't got any challenge around him at the moment. Let me see. What's the gap he's chasing? So he's got just about 5.7 seconds to gain on Eastman Pookie ahead. And Eastman Pookie will need to come into the pits. He as he started on those hard tyres, as did the top 4. So Joseph Loke and Christoph Zeller are the ones I'm keeping an eye on. So Loke pitting on from medium to hard, and Zeller doing the other way around. And Dempsey has now come into the pits. Will Lewis has continued. I reckon we've got a few people going for the very long strategy of going hard to soft, as this seems a really long time to push those hard tyres, judging by when the medium starters came in. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see if anybody actually gives it a try. If you're going to try a crazy strategy in a social race, is the time to do it.
Christoph Zeller is pulling towards the outside line. Oh, no room given by Drake Dempsey there, and Christoph Zeller has to muscle his way through. But he has jumped the American driver on home soil as the Hungarian gets into what is now, I'd imagine, a net P2. Of course, that was where Drake Dempsey was running. Now that second place belongs to Will Lewis, who I'd imagine is thinking about a pit stop very, very soon. Modesto Mena has also made a pit stop, but I think he's gone round in the first sector. He's certainly going very, very slow, and there seemingly is some sort of issue for him. It's appearing him as still being in the pit. I've never seen that issue before, but I suppose we'll just be moving on from that as Jan Halliday gets past the AI car of Christmas. It just seems like everyone at the moment trying to get some heat in their tyres.
Modesto Mena, that's a new one on me as well. He did his pit stop. On my screen, his car is somewhere around turn 6. But apparently he's in the pit lane as well. So an unusual one there. But either way, Modesto Mena, who has disconnected from the lobby, is not continuing. Luke Smith continuing again. And yet still somehow able to keep extending the gap. Will Lewis is now in the pits. So that'll be a set. Is that a medium? Yep, that's a set of mediums then for the AlphaTauri. So Joseph Loke then will take over second. Istvan Pukki's continued as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. Zeller now with the fastest lap, pressing on. He's going to come out ahead of Will Lewis, who will appear behind Dempsey. Yeah, so Dempsey takes turn 1. Will Lewis slots in right behind. So there's a great battle potentially forming for what is currently 4th, but will certainly become a battle for certainly 2nd at some point. Yeah, so really looking forward to that. What's just made me laugh there, I just spotted where Modesto Mena's car is. Did you just see the same thing? Is it literally just bouncing on the spot? Yes.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen that before. I know I shouldn't laugh. It's unprofessional of me to do so, but I'm sorry, that was amusing. So seeing his car just literally headbutting this invisible wall. I found that amusing. But yeah, I'm going to be really keeping an eye on Zeller, Dempsey, Lewis as well. That's going to be a great battle, but where's Luke Smith going to reappear? He's 16 seconds ahead of Joseph Loke. He's surely he's going for soft, so Buffer and Istvan Pukki as well.
Yeah,
he's in this time, so let's see what he's going to go on to. Just about manages to slow down in time to avoid a penalty. Is that soft tyres? Can't see from this angle. Nope, it's medium, so he just went a very long way on those hard tyres. Is Istvan Pukki going to come in? No, Istvan Pukki. I wonder if he's going to go for the soft strategy. Where is Smith going to reappear? Is he going to be still in the lead? No, Joseph Loke's going to take the lead, but Luke Smith on much fresher soft tyres.
Yeah, so Luke Smith is going to be chasing down Joseph Loke, who's on 9-lap-old hard tyres against completely fresh mediums. It's really going to be no contest in terms of the tyre battle. Drake Dempsey has pulled himself up into 4th position. That'll soon turn into 3rd once Istvan Pukki comes into the box, who has extended his stint very, very long. He started 10th, slipped down to the back of the order after what I presume is a collision with Xander Van Dyken. As Symbolics retires in the pits. We're seeing Luke Smith struggling to get the heat in the tyres early. That's why he's lost a lot of time to Joseph, but I'd imagine in the coming laps that gap is going to tumble down, as here comes Drake Dempsey on the rear of Istvan Pukki. Is Dempsey going to try and see this move out, as Pukki looking slightly defensive to the inside, but he gives that one up, as here he is. Down the inside goes Dempsey. I'd imagine being a part of the future esports program with each other, he's not going to put up too much of a fight when it comes to Christoph Zeller, but he's slotted himself in front of him in a very bad position there. He is pulling off to the right hand side, and Zeller's free to continue on with his race, and even though they're not a part of the same team in this scenario, it seems like that future esports blood really is running thick.
Well, competitors are competitors at the end of the day. Yeah, there's no team honor at stake here. So we're also bearing in mind that everyone outside of the top 10 is either has actually disconnected or retired. So we only actually have 10 cars running that have people at the helm, I think.
Tom Martinez and Arda Ganai.
Oh, Arda Ganai, yeah, beg your pardon. So we have 12 cars running. We still have a few ghosts circulating, I beg your pardon. So Luke Smith then should close to the back of Joseph Loke. But can Drake Dempsey drag that pack behind him? That's going to be an interesting one. I shouldn't think so. I would think Luke Smith has this one fairly comfortably as Christmas's ghost falls to the field. Also, Thomas Laminen put in Discord that there's a thunderstorm coming, so he felt the need to retire. Probably quite wise, in fairness. So fair play to you for that one. And here comes Luke Smith, absolutely mugs Joseph Loke, screaming down towards turn 12. Absolutely no battery left, didn't need it. Loke does have a little bit of battery energy at the moment. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is, because Luke Smith, his pace has just been absolutely untouchable. And with the fresh, softer tyres, he's just going to charge off into the distance unless he makes his own mistake.
And of course, later on in this race, those mediums are going to decay quicker than the hards for Joseph Loke at this point, as Istvan Pukki's been overtaken by Will Lewis, and surely this is the point where he considers coming into the pit lane, because those hards are not going to be feeling any good for at least one more lap. Istvan Pukki is going to remain out on circuit, and I'm actually just curious. I wonder where Modesto Mena is on his screen, because there's clearly been some sort of desync issue with the rest of the lobby, but I'd imagine he's just going to keep on running here, because I don't think there was any formal disconnection message for Mena. He might just still be riding it out on circuit at this point, and if that is the case, he's being
he did disconnect from the session when he started bouncing against the invisible wall. So no, he is not in session, or he's certainly not in session as far as I'm aware. Luke Smith has already broken DRS to Joseph Loke, so now the McLaren is just going to run off into the distance. Can Christoph Zeller then or does Christoph Zeller have any answer to Drake Dempsey? So we have another 6-ish laps to figure that out, 6 and a bit laps to work that out. Quite where Zeller was going there. He went very early to the inside line, but wasn't close enough to make a move into turn 12. Who else is in an argument? Leonard and Arda Ganai have been fairly close to each other for a while. Is the Alfa Romeo going to be close enough to make a move into turn 12? Thinks about it? No. Opts not to go for it. Salim Hakim, who, following, as we know, that disastrous start, now 4 seconds off the back of Jan Hannade. I think that's the end of the charge for the Alpine. 11 lap hole hard tyres are not going to close in on 5 lap hole mediums here in Kota. What about Istvan Pukki? He's either just going to ignore the pit stop and just carry on and be disqualified at the end of it, tyres be damned, or he's going to be going for a set of the softs, surely.
He just doesn't care at this point. I think he's going to come out way at the back of the field on a set of the softs. He's going to set the fastest lap, but other than that, I don't think we're going to see him at the front of the pack anytime soon at the end of this race. But at this point, we've seen Christoph Zeller get close to the rear of Drake Dempsey, but I don't think he wants to go for the, I know he doesn't want to go for the move right now, because he's been pulling out early, so he doesn't close too much. He doesn't have to ruin his tyres by braking too early and braking too heavily, or possibly locking up, and possibly cooling the engine off. So these are all small little factors that play into account. You see, he closes, he pulls out to the left hand side, then he pulls back into the slipstream, brakes at his normal point, and he's doing very well to actually conserve where he is. I think this is smart from Zeller, because he knows with that DRS he can easily fly on by from Drake Dempsey, and he can just follow in his wheel tracks, save some of the battery, which he's got about 20% I'm seeing on the dashboard, as compared to Drake Dempsey. It's about the same. So even that being said, I think it's quite smart what Zella's doing.
I'm getting old. I can't read that. I cannot read that whatsoever. I have
quite a bit. I will admit.
Yeah, I have to use. I have to press T to bring up the telemetry thing. So yeah, there we go. Confirm. Modesto Mania in Discord. PC decided to take a nap.
Oh dear.
Yep, your car's still headbutting an invisible wall, and yeah, finally, Eastman Pookie into the pit. Is it soft? Sure, it has to be soft tires at this point. It is. Yep. Like you say, fastest lap, sure, but he's not going to feature towards the top end of this field. As Sol Martinez gets past Christmas's ghost. That's such an awkward phrase, Christmas's is. East Van Pookie then? Well, it's going to be interesting. He might gain a few positions, before the checkered flag falls in just shy of 5 laps' time. Yeah, we'll see.
On track, he'll get 8th place because he's only 2.5 seconds off the back of Arda Ganai. I think, Zella wants to go for the move. Dempsey defending to the inside. Zella's gone the long way around. I had to cut in on myself there. Talking about one future esports driver, the other one wants to go for a move, and that is P3 made up for Christoph Zeller, and they're only 2.9 seconds off the back of Joseph Loke. Can they close that gap? They have certainly been drawing in on that Mercedes car, who's had a fantastic race today, as Arda Ganai gets past on Leonard, and they're going to be feeling the pressure from Istvan Pookie very soon. So even though this race has become a bit drawn out and all the drivers have separated and we've had individual issues, still got some nice on-track battles.
That's true, yep. DRS passed down into turn 12 for Arda Ganai, whose teammate, or at least the ones wearing the same colour shirt, is closing in on them at a hell of a rate of knots, as you would expect with the soft tyres now fitted to the Alfa Romeo. And Istvan Pookie, one of the few that doesn't have a penalty. Some of the penalties have been served in pit lane, and some of the penalty carriers have disconnected, of course. So there's only actually 4 penalties still actually for on-track cars. Ganai's not been able to pull away from Leonard. Those 2 cars still on hard tyres. As Istvan Pookie is closing in on them, and he could actually brave a move through the twisties if he so felt like it with the softs on his car. I'm going to keep an eye on him to see what he does. Also keeping an eye on the gap between Dempsey and Zeller. That's still only half a second, so that could get spicy again. Here comes Istvan Pookie on the back of Leonard, coming through turn 10. Surely he's going to jump on the inside of 11. There he goes. Oh, that was a bit... I think Leonard tried to outbrake in there, but had absolutely no chance of keeping the soft shot Alfa Romeo behind. This will be a pretty straightforward move for Istvan Pookie. DRS open, soft tyres, jumps on the inside of 12. Well before the braking zone, he's pulled alongside. And that's 2 positions in 1 straight for Istvan Pookie.
Yep, textbook stuff for the Hungarian. He didn't have to flex his muscles too hard for that one, and Arda Ganai and Leonard didn't really put too much of a fight up because they know that they're not really going to be able to compete with Pookie's fresh soft tyres that have only got to run just 3 more laps actually in this race, as he's going to come through the final few corners to take lap number 26 at this point. Luke Smith, we haven't checked in with him in a while, and he's completely checked out of this race. He's now 4.1 seconds clear of Joseph Loke. Christoph Zeller is 2.6 seconds off the rear of that Mercedes car, and it is key to mention that if I just quickly bring the penalties up, Joseph Loke has actually got 6 seconds, so at this point he's dropping off the podium, and I think into 5th place as Arda Ganai once again getting by on himself and Leonard having a scrap. I think Leonard tried for the move, didn't quite work out in his favour, and Ganai says thank you very much and retakes that position.
Yeah, that was down at turn 3, so unless someone's made an absolute hash of turn 1 and doesn't get a good run back down the hill, you're never going to make a move there. So Leonard then still hustling the back of Arda Ganai, who's just added to his penalty count. 12 seconds now of penalties for Arda Ganai. So Leonard doesn't have to do anything, he'll inherit that position anyway. In 2.5 laps to go, thereabouts. Dempsey still staring at the back of Zeller. That is a on-track battle. Commentator curse. I'll take that one. That That's my fault. I'll take that 100%. I mean, he's still going to be staring at a podium anyway. Oh no, because Will Lewis is close enough. So unless Will Lewis upsets his own race, then that could be could remain fourth for Drake Dempsey.
I think the top three at this point is going to be Luke Smith, Christoph Zeller, and Will Lewis because of those penalties. For Joseph Loke and Drake Dempsey is Van Pookie. He's set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 1 minute 34.9 flat. So very nice time from him there. But Luke Smith has just got 1.5 laps left in this Grand Prix until he's a winner. Drake Dempsey, he's finally got himself lined up for a move on Zeller, of course. Even though he's got the penalty, he still wants to go for the move. He wants the pride at the end of the day as he opens up the DRS just 2.5 tenths off the back of the Aston Martin car. Is he going to use his ERS to close in towards turn number 12? He gets so close to the rear, practically pushing him through the corner, but he doesn't go for the move. He wants to set him up for the final lap, I'd imagine.
Absolutely, penalties be damned. They're going to give it everything they've got to enjoy the race for as long as it lasts. Jack West's ghost is just pitted for softs. That's nice. And so Sam McBride's ghost as well.
That's why.
Why not? Well, that's a good point. Yes, of course they wouldn't have pitted at all. So, okay, why not, I guess. It just made me chuckle. Luke Smith then starts in the final lap of this race, 5.5 seconds ahead of Joseph Loke, then, who himself 2.6 seconds ahead of Christoph Zeller. So the battle really is, well, I mean, Will Lewis, if he loses too much more time, can actually fall out of podium contention. He's hanging on by a second at the moment. We'll see. If he makes a mistake in this lap, he could actually deny himself the podium here.
We'll have to wait and see. He's got to lose 2 seconds to Joseph Loke if he wants to bottle his own chances at a podium place, but the current battle on circuit is for P3 on track. Of course, Drake Dempsey with that time penalty, he's not going to see that at the end of the day as we've got a yellow flag. That's Ardaganai going around as oh dear, a tap to the rear of Christoph Zeller allows now for Drake Dempsey to close that gap, and he pulls to the inside line. They're going to be it's going to be a drag race down in towards turn number 12. Here's Christoph Zeller trying to find his way to the inside. Slight bit of contact between the pair of them as in towards a braking zone. It is Zeller on the inside, Dempsey around the outside. He has to go off the circuit. The Haas driver questionably getting that move done, but he's now back into third place. Zeller's not going to care because, of course, at the end of the day, he's going to take that position. But let's watch now the McLaren driver who's been in control for pretty much the entirety of this race. Luke Smith through the final corner without a penalty to his name. It's an easy cruise to victory for Luke Smith. He wins in Kota for this social race. Joseph Loke on track comes home second. Drake Dempsey's going to finish third, but with the penalties applied, it is Christoph Zeller in fourth, and indeed third place for Will Lewis, dropping Dempsey down to fourth and Loke down into fifth. Jan Halliday spins across the line. Selemarkin recovers what he lost in this race up to seventh again. It's Van Pookie, after a very interesting strategy option, has finished in eighth. Leonard is going to cruise home into ninth place, and Tom Martinez with a pretty quiet race down in 10th position. He's going to cross the line to take the final points paying position, and our last runner in this race, Ardaganai, unfortunately having that spin on the final lap of the race, comes home to finish in 11th.
I thought it was a little bit indignant that the game chose to disqualify TTG Christmas for not using the tyre allocation. Give the boy a break. His game crashed. Oh dear, But Luke Smith, a class of one as far as this particular lobby is concerned. Was he challenged early on? Sure, but there was no denying that the victory very much belonged to the McLaren. But fair play, Christoph Zeller. That was a great performance up top. Really enjoyed that. And again, a great prelude to the F2 and other brackets we've got coming up for this season.
Of course, this grid filled with F2 and F3 caliber drivers, and there's going to be other runners who haven't partaken or haven't taken part even on the social race this evening and last week as well. So plenty of talent as we see Luke Smith celebrating at the top of the podium. But here is your comprehensive and full classification. It is Luke Smith taking the win by 9.5 seconds ahead of Christoph Zeller in second. Will Lewis without a penalty in third place means that Drake Dempsey is in fourth. Fifth for Joseph Loke. Sixth for Jan Haladej. Selemarkin finishes in seventh. Eighth for Istvan Pukki Leonard. Ninth. Tom Martinez in 10th. Ardaganai 11th. Jack West having a game crash in 12th. Sam McBride in 13th after leaving after his crash. Simbalik's retiring, as does Maynard, Laminen, Tarabukin, Van Dyken, and then the peculiar DSQ for Christmas. But that brings us to the end of the race, as I'll bring you back over to our intermission screen. Chris, let's get your thoughts on that one.
This is why I love COTA. I thoroughly enjoyed that beginning to end. We did have a few laps where the field was a bit drawn out, as you said, Dan, but that was just brilliant. We had fighting throughout the field. We had unusual and some less successful tyre strategies going on. But all in all, yet again, a very, very enjoyable race from a number of top names here at PSGL.
Absolutely. Of course, Luke Smith, certainly the eye-catcher in that one. Would you say, actually, first off, congratulations. You did get your win prediction correct in this one. It didn't work out your way in the battle for pole, but you got it in the race. So you're one up on me, because I went with Will Lewis. I went with my own individual bias. Didn't quite work out, but still a podium in the end. So well done to you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to dedicate this race to my fan. But that's what we love to see, isn't it? It's just racing throughout the field, not just people giving up. A few people obviously got a little bit frustrated and ducked out of the session. In a social race, you can get away with that. We all know what the expected standard is here at PSGL, and I cannot wait to get stuck into the season.
Absolutely. Of course, the season is not too far away, and we are getting ready to head over onto the new era of Formula One, and certainly in PSGL with, of course, GT Omega as our title sponsors, and we haven't had a proper mention of them yet. You can see I've got mine here. It's inverted on your screens, but Chris has got his as well. He's using the nice headrest. It doesn't quite work out for me, so I've just got it on my side, but you can see really, really plush, really lovely, and it's such a comfortable chair. So you make sure you check out GT Omega. The link should be in the description, and you can use, I believe, code PSGL at checkout. I need to check up on that, but I do believe you can use code PSGL at checkout.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I absolutely love this seat. I used to use just leather office chairs and used to get really bad numb backside, and I just haven't had it once with this chair. Absolutely love it. Yeah, you can blame me for being biased towards the sponsorship, but even if we didn't have it, I'd say exactly the same thing. I love this thing. Thank you very much, GT Omega.
Absolutely. Fantastic chairs, and you can get your own. But I do believe, unless, Chris, is there anyone in the interview or the waiting room that we could drag in for an interview?
Let's have a look. Nope. No one is. No one's made themselves available, so that's fine. We very much look forward to the banter and such like come league time.
No one wants to chat to us. That's it hurts my heart, but I think that wraps it up for today. Make sure you subscribe to PSGL and follow us on Twitter. It is PremierSimGL on Twitter. You can also follow Chris. Of course, I believe it's King Kodiak _UK, if I'm not mistaken. And I see the nod of approval there.
You are correct. Yes, that is my Twitter handle. I don't tweet often, but you'll find me pestering people and making a nuisance of myself behind the microphone or writing articles about something or other. But yes, at King Kodiak _UK is where you'll find me.
You can find myself at Danfield _ making some of the dumbest tweets on the app. But I think that just about wraps us up for today's race. Thank you to PSGL for having us on for the, I believe, the final social race before the season gets underway. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's the big red button beneath us here. Thank you to everyone who was watching today. But from us, it is thank you and good night.